Welcome to Impact Effect Podcast. I'm super excited today because we've got an amazing guest and friend in the Spitting Fire studio where we shoot the Impact Effect Podcast. I want to welcome Melissa French to the studio.
Thank you so much, Jim. I'm so excited to be here.
I am fired up
Me too.
because I saw a speech a week ago that you gave and it blew my mind. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. But first, in Impact Effect Podcast fashion, I ask every single guest, how do you define impact and show up in the world and provide impact today?
Wow, that is a great question. I think when we put other people's needs first, that is how we can make a really good impact. Instead of making it about you, what do the other people that you are serving need? We can get so tied up in our busy world and I've got to get all these things done today. But sometimes just stopping and putting other people's needs first and being there for them is a way that you can make a positive impact on other people's lives.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Slowing down, focusing on others. Where did you learn that? Like, why is that the first thing that came to your mind?
Because I'm making a conscious effort to do that. I feel that a lot of times as a busy single mom and a business owner and a speaker and a professional and all the things I have going on, that I get blinders on a lot of times. And I'm just like, I got to get these things done. But then I'm kind of tugged at my staff needs me or my kids need me. I need to put my phone down. I need to stop multitasking. I need to be where my feet are. I need to be present because you don't get that time back, So you've got to be able to make the most of it. And I feel that when I am very conscious at doing that, it just makes a big difference to others.
Totally. I mean, that's impact, right? Is that positive ripple effect. And
yeah.
It just goes and goes and goes. Tell us a little bit about what you do day to day and kind of how you're showing up for people and really making a difference.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I have an amazing team of 5 licensed agents that work for me. So if it wasn't for them, I would not be able to be at this podcast and speak and do all the things that I love to do and want to do to serve others. I have 2 wonderful kids. That one is about to graduate high school and go off to college. And I'll be, as Mel Robbins says, a bird launcher, not an empty nester.
Look at that reframe. I like that reframe. A bird launcher.
Bird launcher, not an empty nester. Yes, I've adopted that. But yeah, I mean, I love insurance. I'm an insurance geek. I'm an insurance nerd. I love to talk coverages. I love when people call me and ask me questions where I can break things down and make it very easy and simple for them. I love to take care of people. And when people have homeowner claims or car accidents or, the unfortunate death of a loved one, they come to me and I am their calmness in their storm. And I can walk them through the process and let them know what to expect and let them know that they're not alone and make a positive impact in a very negative situation, that they're in. But my preference is obviously to meet with people before they ever have a claim so we can sit down and customize an insurance policy that it caters to their specific needs. And then as life changes, we make sure that those policies keep up with their family's needs and how things evolve. Those are my 2 favorite things about what I do.
It's interesting because I've met a lot of people that do insurance, but what you exude is that protection factor, not necessarily like, let me sell you this or give you that. Why is protection so important to you?
Well, for a zillion reasons. First of all, our home is our biggest asset. I personally have been displaced from my own home, so I know what it's like not to have that claim and know what coverages that you need. And unfortunately, I've had to deal with people that don't have certain coverages that they need, and then they are in a really bad situation.
Tell us a little bit about you being displaced.
Yeah, so I had a water claim in my home from an upstairs toilet. And
Ooh.
Yeah, and so that one was not the one that displaced us, but we had to live with holes in our ceiling and the inconvenience of it. The one that displaced us was an ice dam that came where the water, it had rained and it froze and then it snowed and then it froze again, and then the sun came out, and all that's called ice damming, and water goes through your ceiling, and it actually went through behind the walls and then came up through our subfloors. So we had a
Wow.
foot or two of standing water in several rooms in our house. And when
What's
this
that feel like? Yeah,
you're
like
like,
having to leave your home and all your possessions and like,
yeah, we were thankfully, I knew who to call. I'm in the business and I kind of knew what preventative measures to take. But then, we're opening the claim, we're dealing with it, and they're like, well, you've got to move out. It happened in our bedroom. So we didn't even have a master bedroom
wow.
for like a month. And then when they came in to have to redo the drywall and all the floor sanding and staining, we had to move out for 2 weeks. So here we are with 2 kids, a dog, a cat, and we're like, where do we go? So the inconvenience of having to redo your entire home, pick up your family and go live someplace else for a couple of weeks while you're still trying to live life and work and be a mom and do all those things and then juggle the inconvenience of having the insurance claim. I know exactly what it's like. So when my customers are in that crisis, I can say, hey, look, I've been there. I've done that. Let me help you. This is what you can expect, and just, calm them down.
Yeah, it's deep levels of empathy
Yeah,
and listening and understanding, not to just react, but to react in a way of comforting.
absolutely.
I think that's it's such a powerful lesson because you go through an experience and at that time you're like, oh, this is terrible. I've got the dog, the cat, the kids. Right? We've got to move out. We've got to, coordinate all these things, file the claim. And in that moment, you're probably like, oh, this is terrible. Why me? Why me?
Mm-hmm.
But then fast forward, and now you're being able to show deep empathy with someone because you've experienced that, which in turn is how you want to show up.
Absolutely. And
It's so powerful.
yeah, and I truly believe that every hardship that you go through in life, if you can find one good thing that happened out of it and use that to help others, that's the purpose. That's my calling is, okay, this is a really horrible experience. What did I learn from it? And how can I either help somebody or prevent somebody from going through that?
Yeah. What's something you can share with us today that you recently or past experience that you can help someone?
Oh my gosh, if we're talking insurance,
What about just life?
life,
Yeah.
oh,
And maybe
well,
we can dive into
yeah,
some of your
yeah,
recent
yeah,
speaking engagements after
yeah.
that.
Life in general, the speech that you were just recently talking about, I told my trifecta comeback story, how I hit complete rock bottom in a 3-year period and completely felt isolated, alone, hopeless, victim mentality, terrible mindset, all the things that I just fell into like a really dark, deep, personal and professional hole. And it took a while to dig myself out of that. And I think everybody needs to know that number one, life isn't perfect. And when life happens, that you can overcome even the worst tragedies and adversities that life throws at you with the right people, the right mindset, and having a comeback story that puts you back to where you were and even in a better place. And it took me years to get there, but that is something I'm extremely proud of. And now that's my mission, is to help other people, whether it's personal or professional, to let them know that if they can, when life really happens, you can pivot and you can make changes and you're not always going to be there.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what happened for that trifecta comeback.
Yeah, I was married for 20 years and it's a very long story, but I had finally found the courage to file for divorce. And so I did that, and that was very difficult, especially as a public divorce. And my faith of getting a divorce is wrong I grew up in a very religious household. And so finding the courage to get out of a marriage that was not healthy and was no longer serving me was a very difficult decision. And I really wrestled and struggled with it. Right during that process, there was a domestic violence event that occurred that really just shook me to my core. And then not too long after that, my office manager, who was my rock, especially during that time, unexpectedly passed away. She was at the office. We had to call 911. Ambulance came. We had no idea that she was not coming back, but she passed away in the hospital about a week later. And here I am just trying to survive. And then my office is, my right-hand person is no longer there. And then the following year, during COVID and the height of the pandemic, I'm in quarantine with 2 teenage kids. All of us are about to go stir crazy, and I lost my entire team. So I am running an agency that had been around, oh gosh, 15 years, 16 years, and I had 0 employees. And I was like, what the hell? Like, all right, what else you gonna throw at me, God? Like, what am I supposed to do? And it was tough. It was tough. It took years of me trying to turn that ship and change my mindset and seek counsel. And the big thing is I had to learn to ask for help. I'm a type A personality, and I'm this person that doesn't like to ask for help. So having to ask for help was very hard, but knowing that people do have your back, and knowing that there are resources and books and, friends and my faith and podcast and therapy, all the things that really help you get yourself back on track. And it took me a while, but I am no longer surviving. I am thriving and I am growing. And I know that if I can do it, you or anybody that's listening can make those changes and turn things around too, even if they feel like it's in a dark time.
And I can only imagine your team and people that want to work for you knowing the level of resilience you have, knowing the level of empathy, how you're a natural protector. Like, I can only imagine that's what has drawn your teammates, because I was at your office the other week.
Yeah.
And you're celebrating someone's birthday and you're excited about coming up for someone's anniversary. And I see the level of leadership of why it makes sense so clearly when I see it in real life. Right? We're talking about it, but I actually got to physically watch the interactions and the culture in the company. And it just makes so much sense to me of why you built it back and how you built it back so quickly.
Yeah.
Right? I also heard that you were 1 or 2 in the company last year.
Last year I was
in your division.
We have markets and districts, and I was in the top 15, and it was a really good comeback year for us. This year we're working to get even better, and we're on pace, and my team is doing amazing. But yes, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of grind, it's a lot of resilience, it's a lot of tossing and turning, and sleep and not sleeping, and trying to figure it all out. But when you put your mind to it and you are in the right space and headspace, you can make it happen.
You had mentioned you utilize some books, some therapy, some podcasting, things like that. What would you recommend someone goes to for a cheap or easy access to a resource in some of those times? Because you had mentioned like filing publicly for divorce, domestic violence, no employees, COVID, office manager passing. Like, that's a lot of stuff happening very quickly.
Yeah.
And then to go from that to where you are today, what's some resources you could share with folks?
The first thing is you got to look at the mirror and know that it starts with you. And
let's go. Come on.
Yeah, that's hard. Like, you look in the mirror and you are like, all right, it's on you. Find the big girl panties. They've been crumpled up under your bed for a few years. Find the big girl panties and put them on. And you have to make that conscious effort.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out who you are. Who is your true, authentic self? And I had to bring myself back to the Melissa French that I was back in my high school and college years, who I truly was before I felt that I had to be somebody else. So I think that is the first thing. And once you find out who you are and you are comfortable with who you are, then, I started out on Instagram, really just like typing in words and looking at reels, and then started asking my therapist, what books I need. I started with Brene Brown and I started with Glennon Doyle. Those were my two. Okay, I need Braving the Wilderness and Finding Your Authentic Self and Your Armor No Longer Serves You and all the Brene Brown. And that is where I started for my own. I read every book, listened to every podcast I could find. I mean, all this was free other than paying for therapy. Everything was free. You just dig until you find something that resonates with you and your story. And then you just get as much as you can, and then you move to the next one, and then you get as much as you can, you move to the next one. So yeah, I then found Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins, and then now I'm going more towards the professional side, and of course John Maxwell and Jay Shetty. So every morning I listen to a podcast. I mean, I listen to a podcast every morning, and I read a book almost every single day, or at least every week I'm reading a chapter out of something. Just getting better every single day. That's all I want to do.
It's those micro compound moments,
Mm-hmm.
I call them, right? Where it's like, okay, you've absorbed this piece of content, whether it's in a book, a podcast, visual, auditory, and you store it, in the memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, that made sense, or maybe it didn't. And then it comes up later in life, or it comes up when you need it. So it's so interesting to hear because I'm the same way. Like the biggest thing that I shifted from that I think created so much opportunity and education and learning was instead of putting on hardcore rap music in the car
Mm-hmm.
from the 90s, which is what I love and I grew up with, to putting on a podcast where I can elevate and educate myself, right? It's the same amount of time. It's the same amount of energy. Maybe I'm more zoning out for the rap music and thinking deeper for the education,
Yeah.
but like just that one switch for me changed so much. And I always go back to those podcasts from a year or 2 years ago. And I'm like, oh, now I can apply this, or, oh, now it makes sense.
Yes.
And then you've got those podcasts where you like pull over the car,
Right.
write down on the notepad, implement at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So it's that bandwidth of information. It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing.
It is. I think I started this with my staff. We now do book club every single Wednesday. And we probably read 15 books maybe, I don't know, but I see a huge shift in my team and their mindset and their excitement and their resilience. And I think the first book we read was The Compound Effect. You were just saying the compound moments. It was The Compound Effect, and that was like, okay, I need a morning routine, I need an evening routine, I need to be intentional, I need to do all of these things, and making that conscious effort. That was instrumental. And you're talking about rap music. Sometimes I want my 80s big hair music in the mornings because I just don't want, I'm an information overload. I got to unplug from my podcast.
Totally.
Some days I am feeling, God, and I need some Brandon Lake, or I need some elevation worship, or I just took my son to go see Forrest Frank. So now I got another, music that I listen to. But I think you've got to find out what feeds your soul each day, whether it's the podcast or the music or quiet time.
Totally.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
You just hit it. It's so important. Quiet time.
Mm.
That we live in such a life of distractions and content and social media and full access, right? Like people are calling and texting me 24/7.
Yes.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily matter what time or what day, if it's the weekend, if it's a Sunday morning, it doesn't necessarily matter. But when are you putting yourself in situations to just sit there and think and to absorb without any distractions?
Yes.
Those are so important to me, and I cherish them more and more, especially with 2 kids and traveling and 2 businesses and the podcast and all the amazing things that I love to do. But that quiet time is really important for me. And you talked about routines. For me, it's sauna in the morning, quiet time. I'm by myself. Everybody's sleeping. If I don't do that, I see the change throughout the day in my energy, in my alertness, my awareness, how quick to just have a dialogue with someone and then be like, wow, that was, I impressed myself there, right? Like I was on, I was good, right? Yeah. Because we all know there's times where you're like, what did I just say? And especially for you speaking and getting on all these podcasts, I mean, you can probably relate to the point of like, sometimes we're on, sometimes we're off. And I always find whenever I don't have that routine or I don't have that quietness to think and absorb, then I have more of those moments where I'm somewhat just a little bit off. For you, in your experiences with speaking, and I want to talk about that recent speech a little bit more and what you got coming up. Do you have any routines that you could share? Like, what did
Yeah.
you do before that speech? Because that speech was, I mean, I watched the reel and it had me emotional.
Thank you.
Like I was choked up, and you brought me to a specific place. So I know there must have been a routine or a practice around that.
Yeah, I mix it up. I used to be very diligent. Like, okay, I wake up at, well, when I first started doing this, I would wake up at 5:30 or 6, and I would have like my 20 or 30 minutes of quiet time, and then I'd go to the gym a couple of days a week. But now I'm doing 6 a.m. Pilates, so I pick certain days to have my quiet time. Like this morning, I was supposed to be at Pilates at 6 o'clock, but I woke up at 5 saying, I need quiet time this morning. I don't want to feel rushed getting here. I was really praying and soul searching, about what to say and making sure that everything that I do does glorify God, because He's the one that got me through all of the tough times and will get me through, every day. So this morning, I had intention of going and exercising, running home, taking a shower, getting ready, and getting here. But I woke up and I was like, no, Melissa, you need quiet time. So, and it was beautiful. So I went outside and had my coffee and, read through my journal and then journaled and then just took my time. And it helped me ease into this day. And I feel like I am at a much higher frequency because of that. So, and it's an early morning and I've only had 1 cup of coffee and I'm bouncing off walls. So it's been a good day. So I have to find time to exercise. I have to find quiet time, but I also had to find my social time too, because I love my friends and I love being with people and I love my community. So it's always a balance, but those are all very important things that I have to do every single day.
Yeah, we just for the folks listening, we've been vibrating pretty high.
Yes, we have.
Even before we turned the cameras on. Do you want to share any of what we talked about before?
Can I what I read?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. This oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm a big believer in God winks, and I have had God wink after God week after God wink this week, and it's only today's Thursday. I was supposed to say Wednesday. So I have had this inner desire, calling for the last couple of years to really start sitting at other people's tables. I've been wanting to level up. And I started just looking at, first of all, people in my community that I wanted to be friends with. I'm like, I want to be like you because I think you're a badass and you do a lot for the community, or you're a great business person, or I want to sit at your table. And I declared that a while back. And last year, I was nominated for Women Impacting the Community with the women that I wanted to sit at their table. And then this past Christmas, I had those women at my house for Christmas. So it's so cool, like how these little things happen once you're very intentional and you know what you want. And so last July, I was really struggling last summer about overcoming fear and leveling up myself with my business and as an individual. And I was led to go to a conference outside of my industry. And I was working with some of my really good friends, the guys that started B3, Eric and Dennis. And I went to one of their mastermind, or I think it's their business builder events. And I was actually looking at some type of conference. I was thinking a John Maxwell conference because I, heard that there was one in Colorado or whatever. So I was like, oh, I may do that. And you are a guest speaker. And this morning, and you made a huge impact on me with just coming to that B3 event. And number one, just talking about being vulnerable and talking about what are your dreams and getting really focused on what it is that you want. And I'm always like, oh, I know what I want, blah, 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 blah. But you had me go home that day and I wrote in my journal, Jim Morris came to B3. This is what he talked about. And this is what I really want. And I started getting crystal clear. And then you told us about your Impact Effect event. And I was like, this is the answer to prayer, I don't have to pay for a flight. And no offense, John Maxwell, but I have to pay a whole thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and travel and all this kind of stuff. It was here in Nashville. And I was scared to death to go to, not scared to death, but I was nervous, but also excited. I'm like,
well, you showed up, but like, you just came. You didn't like show up or reach out to a bunch of people and connect with them. You were like, you know what? I'm making the decision and I'm going.
Yeah. I was like, powerful. Oh, this is how I register. You gave us a flyer. And I was like, done. And I registered, and it was a couple weeks later, and I just showed up not knowing knew you were going to be there, and I briefly met you.
Yeah.
But I walk in the room and ran into Justin Mosley and Jeff Cecil. Make sure I say, I'm not really the best with pronouncing people's names, and made amazing connections. And yeah, I was like, this is what I needed. But I didn't. And when you asked me, because you came to me at that event and you said, what do you need out of this conference today? And I was like, I really don't know. But I wrote in my journal that morning, I want to connect with people that will help me level myself up personally and professionally. And you're like, do you need to meet anybody? I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. So I don't know who I need to meet. But I was just like, God, put me at the right people. And you did this amazing breakout session where you had everybody mix tables and put us out of our comfort zone, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's a sticky note on my mirror still from you. And it was like, tell people what you do without telling people what you do. And Brittany Stinson was sitting next to me, and I adore her and Daryl so much. And she was sitting next to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, you are the person I needed to be sitting next to. I mean, it was, like I said earlier, it's a God wink. And so I literally went home and wrote in my journal, holy effing shit, this was the conference I needed. And I have started vibrating at such a higher frequency because of you coming to B3, invited me, and all the things that just snowballed in such a short period of time.
It's so interesting because, we're shooting the podcast today, and you're talking about previously, before we just talked about this situation, about how you didn't go to Pilates and you needed time and you wanted to think and read your journal. And then those are the pages that pop up in the journal.
Yeah.
To remind you of that, to then come here to share it with me. Like earlier, I'm like, I'm going to get emotional before the podcast, right? And then we're sharing it on camera right now. And it's just one of those beautiful, magnificent things that just happen. But it's just one of those things where it's like, there's so much beauty in it.
Yeah.
And you just never know the impact.
You don't.
And I'm excited to just continue to watch you create so much impact. And I know you had mentioned before this, like, you spoke at that event, then you went to another conference, and now they're inviting you out to Utah to give a keynote. And, now you're working on that. And it's just this evolution that's happened because you focused on you.
Yeah.
And you took risk, right? Like what she's saying, folks, is she's saying that she heard me speak for probably 40 minutes and then took risk on coming to an event, which in turn she met people that has now allowed her to break the fear and to do the things she can and knows she wanted to impact other folks. Like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just grateful to be just a sliver in that, because I know where your heart is in the background of insurance and the protection and caring and loving and being there for people when it's tough times, and to just go into that knowing and having empathy, to then bring that to a stage, to bring that to this podcast today, to bring that to the world. There's so many people that you're going to impact, and there's so much change that's going to come in a positive way. And I'm just so excited to just see you continue to step into that.
I'm excited and I love it. And the thing is you don't know who you're impacting most of the time. And sometimes you'll never know. But, when I did that speaking, I went in and I just, I prayed to God. I was like, help me use the right words and help me to touch one person. And the outpouring afterwards was people have been messaging me and texting me and hugging me, and I was just hoping that I was hoping to make it through, number one, survive it.
Let's be real.
Right?
Not fuck it up.
Right, exactly. And then just maybe one person, but it shows that you're on the right path, right? You know, when you don't really always need that validation or whatever, but to know that you did make a difference in somebody's life, and there's probably so many people that you haven't, but that's so rewarding.
Well, it's motivation too. You know,
Yeah.
I was having a tough day the other day and I thought about, you know, because I watched the reel that you had put out and there was tons of comments and I'd seen a ton of likes and all that. And I was like, and I was thinking about that, of your resilience. Right now, the family's in West Virginia for 2 weeks. I'm traveling a lot. And I was kind of feeling lonely yesterday, right? I'm at the house, no one's here. There's literally no dogs. Like, we got the chickens out back. They're keeping me sane, right? And I'm like, wow, Melissa is so resilient in her Trifecta story. And I'm so glad that she shared that, because as I was getting down the other day, I was thinking, like, this is fine. Like, this is, like, I can get through this. This is 2 weeks without the family. Like, the first time ever being away from my children and my wife. But I'm like, well, Melissa's resilient. Melissa's gone through so much. Melissa's built back a business and gone from 0 to top 15 in the country. Like, I can get through 2 weeks. So even that, just me seeing the reel and referencing it back to my life literally 2 days ago had an impact on me. Yeah. Right. And I'm not a single mom and I don't, you know, I am not divorced. But still, that level of vulnerability that you provided and honesty, it hit me to the point where I regurgitated and pulled that back up into my brain to say, let me be a little bit more resilient. This will be fine. Like, this will be fine.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and I haven't even shared this with you, but as you know, I was in a conference. I was at a Texas Leaders Forum last week. When I booked the conference, I did not know that it was Easter weekend. And one of my best friends, JJ, her and her husband live there. So every time I go to the conference, I always extend and stay a day with them, because they love good food and wine and they take good care of me. And I just can just relax, and they got great kids and dogs. And I just love their home and everything about it. And so I came back Saturday night and I forgot the next day. Well, knew that the next day was Easter, but there was no way that I could make it to my family's house that lives over 3 hours away, because Monday morning I had an FCA golf tournament, and it just
You were busy.
I was so busy. But you were talking about missing the family. You know, I get home Saturday night and I'm like, well, I got all day Sunday. I can do laundry and get all my stuff ready for the golf tournament and have some quiet time. I have some me time. I've been on the whole time. I'll really enjoy this quiet time, and I was looking forward to it. But I was like, I had to dig in and get a little of my resilience, because I was like, you know what? I don't have my family this year for Easter. Both of my kids were gone because they're away. One's with their dad, and the other one is 3+ hours away at college and rolled his ankle and couldn't walk for a couple of days. And because I got home so late, I overslept for my sunrise service. So my whole Easter routine was different, and it did not feel like Easter. And then I started getting sad when I was like, man, I didn't realize, you know, like kind of what you were saying, you just kind of felt lonely, you know? And I was like, I haven't felt like this in a while, you know? Because what I thought the day was going to be, the feeling was completely different. So you kind of got to sit with that, and you got to figure that out and know where it's coming from. And, you know,
look inward, like we started.
Exactly.
Starts with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think for me in my situation, it was like, oh, this will be fun, right? Like, I don't have the screaming and the changing the diaper. And it's like 12 hours in. It's like, I'd rather have it that way.
Yeah.
Like, let's go back that way.
Yeah, exactly.
With your insurance, with the speaking, with all those things, can you share a situation where you've just gone above and beyond with your clients? Because I know you've told me like 5 or 6 of these stories where and I've just never heard of an agent or an owner of a brokerage or just go that above and beyond. Can you share maybe a story? And then also, I'm really interested in the why.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do that? Why did you push above and beyond?
Probably, I mean, I have 2 customer service people on my team that handhold almost every claim, and they are so great with it because they both have experienced catastrophic losses too.
Wow.
So it
Okay.
just makes you better. It makes you a better agent. I think probably the biggest ones that come to mind. I mean, we're here in Nashville. We're in smack dab tornado alley. We have straight line winds. We have tornadoes left and right. I experienced three really big, like catastrophic tornado claims in Sumner County, Hendersonville area. The last one was December 10th of 23. Yeah, it wasn't like 23. And I don't know, actually, by the grace of God, my office building lost a handful of shingles and we had a hole in a window. The YMCA across the street like was closed for months. The First Baptist Church was hit. The Holiday Inn was ripped to shreds, and my office sits within 100 yards of every single one of them. Now, we lost power, we lost heat, we lost everything, but that happened on a Saturday night. Monday morning before 8 o'clock, Allstate had our catastrophic team, our mobile response team, come, and they set up in my parking lot for an entire week. So I was out on social media. I have a friend of mine that's a morning DJ. I sent him a reel. We had people coming all over, not just my customers, but anybody that was with Allstate coming. We were giving cash advancements for people that couldn't live in their house. They were meeting face to face with the adjusters. I let all my staff work from home that whole week because we had no heat. One of my vendors let us use a generator for a few days, but we still had no heat.
Yeah.
And we worked sun up to sundown the whole week, taking care of everybody, not just, my customers, but everybody. And then I think 3 years later, I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky, when another really bad storm hit Hendersonville. And my phone was blowing up that morning. What do we do? We don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, what do you need? And they're like, food, water. Like we have nothing. And I called the president of the Chamber of Commerce and said, do we have anybody that will donate stuff? I picked up, I think 50 pizzas.
Wow.
And went to Sam's and bought cases of water and bags of oranges and apples. And I went to the hard hit areas with my Allstate sweatshirt and my hiking boots on. And I'm just like, what do you need? What do you need? Here's water. People with chainsaws. I mean, just going, my customers that were calling me, I went from house to house to house. Here's a pizza. What do you need? Roofers were there. I'm guiding them through, what to look for, telling them what their deductible is, how all this works, helping them sift through things. I mean, just.
You're the calmness in the storm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what I do.
That's what I do. It's powerful. I can feel it. I can feel it. And it's deep.
Yeah.
I can only imagine to have those conversations with folks, your customers, but also just anybody in the community. You kind of put down the walls of competition or business or money. Like, this is a scenario that our community is affected by.
Right.
And then it also makes so much sense about what you do outside of the business world with some of the ministries and some of the community organizations. Can you share just a little bit about why you're so passionate about helping the community outside of just business interaction?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if you're blessed, you need to pay it forward. If God is giving you anything, then you need to give that to people that are less privileged as you. Being in the community, people ask me to donate for anything and everything. I have to pick my top 3 passions. I have to pick who I want to help because I can't help everybody when it comes, to all the nonprofits. But my passion is empowering women, single moms, small business owners. And I've always been a big supporter of our school system because my kids go to Sumner County schools. So anything I can do with the Sumner County schools so those are my top 3. I want to give all my time, all my money to those people because I am a single mom. I am a small business owner. And I needed empowerment when I was going through a dark time with my marriage and divorce and things like that. So I don't ever want anybody to have to go through what I went through. And if they're going through it, I want to make it easier for them.
Yeah. That's impact.
Yeah.
That's impact. It's powerful because you're so aligned, right? Like you're so dialed in. These are my 3 things. This is why. This is who I'm helping. This is how I'm helping. Did that take time to kind of really narrow that down, or was that something where you were like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going all in. I'm donating, I'm helping, I'm giving time, resources, brokering relationships, and making introductions and inviting folks like myself into some of these
Yeah.
organizations.
You know what? When I first started my business, I just I wanted to get my name out there and I wanted to help people. And it's funny, about a year or two after I became a business owner, I was asked to get up and speak at a Rotary event. And it was like, you're a new member in Rotary. Tell us about you, your family. And I got up and I started speaking. I didn't even realize it's been ingrained in me since birth. I didn't even realize this for years, but I'm a third generation entrepreneur. My father owned a business. My father was a Baptist minister. I mean, churches help everybody, right? My dad would bring homeless people over to our house for food, would help give people work, go into the inner city and help children that, were home alone, bring them to church. I mean, I was raised doing that. So I was raised helping people, but my dad was also a business owner and a pastor. So giving back to his community and church was that's how I was raised. I didn't know any different. And then my grandparents were farmers. And then my grandmother, by just selling produce on the side of the road, she ended in like the 40s or 50s, ended up becoming a franchise of grocery stores called French's Market in East Tennessee. And even though they passed away when I was in my teens, I would see all the family reunions, all the pictures. And I remember even at a young age, they were always helping people. They always helped others. And so that's all I've known is helping other people. And when you give back, you're actually helping yourself, you know? I mean, and I'll never forget years ago, when I was not in a good place, I was like, I need to help somebody. If I can help somebody, it's going to make me feel good.
It's the number one thing I go to when I'm feeling terrible.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing. I go, you know what? And I'll share something with you that happened recently that I caught myself, and I'm glad I did. I was having a tough day, and I sent out a bunch of messages to people like, hey, I've been watching your reels. I see you're building this. You're crushing it. It's amazing. Just want to let you know I see you. Like, keep rolling, keep moving forward. I can only imagine how tough it is, right? So I wanted to give empathy. I wanted to highlight someone, and I wanted to pump them up and inspire them. Like, I see you. I'm watching. You're grinding. You're doing it. You're crushing it. Not knowing the circumstances, but like just support, right? And I did it. I do it in 10. So I sent out 10 messages, and almost everybody responded like, oh, thanks, man. Or how are you? Like, let's talk about you. How's Jim doing? Or, thank you so much. And there's a couple people that just, one didn't respond, and two people just liked it. Right. And I was like, man, I just sent that text. I thought about it. I've been staying up on them. I looked up their social, and I just got a like from that. And then I caught myself. And what I realized was I wasn't doing it for the response. I'm not doing it for the credibility or the building the relationship, or I was doing it because I just wanted that person to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I get upset because I didn't get a response? I didn't, actually, if you think about it, I didn't need a response from anybody. The only thing I wished and wanted was that someone read it and felt the love that I was trying to give. And when I thought about that, I was like, wow, this is a selfish act, because if I really don't care about the response, then I'm really just doing this for me. But ultimately, deep down, I want them to see it because I want them to feel the love and the support too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you think about that, of like, and I said this on a podcast maybe 3 months ago, and now it's resonating why so many people mentioned it. On that podcast, a lot of people were in a rough place. It was early entrepreneurs, right? And we've been there.
Oh gosh, yes.
Where it's like every day you're going, is this the wrong thing to do? Is this a mistake? Like every day, right? And it still happens to me. It happens to everybody. I saw you were down in Texas with Brian Galke.
Yes.
And Brian Galke had posted the other day, he was having one of those days. And Brian's been speaking on huge stages for a long time. And he had mentioned that someone at the event sent him a card. And he got it on a day where he was thinking about, oh man, screw it. Like I just lost a speaking gig, and I've only got a couple coming up and I really need to hit this number. And things were just tough, right? It was that period. And a card from someone who saw him speak at one of my events showed up on his doorstep that day and just flipped the script completely.
Wow.
It's just funny to think about all those things that can kind of come back to you,
Yeah.
and the impact that that woman had on Brian in that moment. And she probably didn't even realize that was going on. She just did it because it probably made her feel good. But most importantly, she wanted that Brian to feel that love too.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. One thing that I've been doing forever is, and I've trained my staff, is when you're talking to one of our customers and it's something good, like they just had a baby or they got married or they're sick or they've been in the hospital or their spouse, died or there is a hardship, we send all of our customers a handwritten card and everybody in our office signs it. And if it's like, a baby or whatever, well, like I said, do the congratulations. But we had one of our customers, and we unfortunately send a lot of sympathy cards. And a couple years ago, one of our customers, his wife had died. He remarried pretty quickly. The family did not like the new wife. And anyway, he got sick and passed away. And so when he passed away, she had to call us and tell us. We were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And we sent her a card, a sympathy card. And she called me in tears and said, Melissa, that's the only sympathy card that I got. And you have no idea how much that meant to me.
I can feel my eyes getting heavy on that one.
And
wow.
I turned around to my staff.
Can you only imagine the 5,000 you sent before to continue the process to get to that one person that impacted them at the highest level?
And that's what I told them. I said,
like, this is
why we do it. Guys, I have to address another card. They don't say that. But, I got another card.
But we're thinking it. Let's be real, right? It's like, let's be honest. I hate writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't like it. I think my penmanship's terrible. My hand hurts.
I don't know what to write. I don't know what to put in it. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I don't do good with that
all
stuff.
Those moments of resilience and pushing forward because you knew what was right and the impact that it could have came to that one day where it had that impact. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's leadership, Melissa French. That is true leadership.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today, and just to thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for just diving in and just sharing the truth, right? I think that's so important. Built something amazing and then, had some things happen and then the comeback and to where you are today and how you lead a team. It's just amazing. And I'm grateful to call you a friend.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I am truly blessed. Yes, I like to say it's, resilience in my team and all that kind of stuff. But if it wasn't for God, I would not have anything, and that is where I get my strength. And when I know that things are great, he gets the glory. And when things aren't, I got to really humble myself and ask for help. But I am very blessed and very grateful for every single day. And I love this opportunity just to kind of chat and talk with you. And I'm vibing. I'm excited. It's I really appreciate you and everything that you have impacted in my life.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it.